You read the title. You know it's true, and you're starting to realize it. Mineplex Clans is doomed, and without proper change, it is going to fail on Mineplex's re-release. About a year ago, I made this document highlighting things that are problems in clans with solutions I saw fit. This is before clans even did their first alpha. These were basic things like kit imbalance, map spread, clan size issues, and other things. And all of those issues just became more clear within the last 3 clans tests, and nothing has been done to help resolve it. So it is 1:30 a.m. and in this video I am going to talk about all of the issues I personally see with clans in its current state and the solutions I would do to fix them. I first want to state that I have nothing against the clans team and the people who pour hours into working on the game and the server as it is. I've never managed a server before nor developed a game, and I'm not trying to use this video in a hateful way, rather an informative way. Okay, so for this video I'm going to talk about a direct problem with clans in its current state, followed by a solution to combat it. Starting off rather simple with mobility imbalance. An open world game with no direct objective is always going to favor any class or item that has the most mobility. We've seen it with Assassin for over 9 years now. If you're a knight beating an assassin in a fight, it doesn't matter because you're not catching him. But if you're an assassin beating a knight in a fight, then you can kill him because he can't escape you. Every kit needs a balanced set of mobility within abilities. Like, buff Bull's charge in extreme amount, so if someone begins to run from you, you can catch them and punish them if they're low HP. If you land a flesh hook on someone, let it drag them directly to you and slow them down a bit, forcing them into that fight. If a player doesn't want to commit to a fight, they have the mobility to deny that. If they do want to commit, they can use the mobility to engage into the fight or hold them for a potential chase or escape. Clans has been dominated by assassins for such a long time, and it would be cool to see some more kit diversity. Anyways, now let's talk about clan size. The max clan size is the minimum needed to play. I personally vote for clan size 4. Everyone thought I was crazy when I said 6 a year ago, but it should be more clear now why that was said. On the topic of clan size, an issue very difficult to resolve, if not impossible, is trucing. If I'm in a secret clan and I see Krita's username and I don't want to fight him, I don't have to because I know exactly who I'm fighting. I compare this to a game like Rust, which doesn't show usernames and is typically medium to long range combat, making it much harder to identify who you do and don't want to fight. But despite all of this, a clan size set to 4 will help give smaller groups the option to fight. Sticking to the basics, I'll quickly talk about claim distance. If you don't see the issue with this picture, you must be one of the 20 players on clans right now. Make people spread out. 3 chunks minimum between each base. I don't care if you have to travel an extra 30 seconds to spot someone. Look, I get it. You don't want to step far from your base because of people jumping you and cleaning you, but it's the exact reason the game is so boring. Now, claim distance is just a sub-issue with the entirety of bases and fighting amongst them. These next solutions are a bit of a hot take, but are meant to help redefine the experience of fighting around bases. If you are combat tagged in the wilderness, you shouldn't be able to enter clan territories. If you are combat tagged in anywhere but the wilderness, you can stay in that chunk, but if you exit it, you cannot re-enter it. Let me explain the purpose of this. In current clans, if you take a fight outside of your base, you are at no risk as you can walk into your moat if you are losing the fight. The problem is the enemy cannot do that and just wasted resources because you were fighting at your chunk. Now, to follow up on this, there's a few things. If a player gets a kill or an assist, they can enter their own chunk, allied chunks, or enemy chunks for the next 30 seconds. This is kind of like a siphon you would award the player with them to be able to escape if they get the chance. And to follow up on that comes something I feel could really help the game a lot. I think level field should be built into every player into the game. Not as an ability on Knight only, but as a passive on every single player that is activated by default. I know there are some good players out there still that don't cheat in clans, that can take 1v2s with ease and 1v3s even, but it is very unlikely and I think it would help outnumber teams a lot. Imagine being able to take a 3v4 and not instantly knowing you lost the fight. Sure, it would still be hard as it's supposed to, but it's meant to buff the lower group of players a bit more to encourage them to fight and give them a chance to win if they're good enough. Now, I don't know how good level field is, if at all, but I'll talk in an example form of how I would want to see it work in this scenario. 1 brute versus 2 brutes. Let's say each is 7 hits to kill. The solo brute in this case would take half less damage, making the 2 brutes have to get a combined 14 hits to kill the solo. The solo is still not expected to win this fight, but it gives the solo a better chance to withstand the fight and maybe even win it if he plays good enough. On paper, it sounds great. You know, imagine a world where you can run outside your base, kill one guy, either fight the second at low HP or run back and take your winnings if possible. Or imagine chasing a guy that is running and he can't run into his base because he's combat tagged. To add to all of this, I think a health indicator in the game is needed as well, as it would be difficult to figure out who has what health with the whole level field effect. Now, to finalize the hot takes on base fighting, I think surface level on the map should not be able to be mined. I think it would be cool to keep the original terrain of the game without having people terraform it days in for no reason. This can also be a minor solution to moats. The next problem in this game is economy. I mean, it's literally so bad, but I'll start simple and expand further in. Kits need to be obtainable other than fighting people. And do not tell me to go and fish. Like, I cannot express my hate for this fishing garbage. It's so boring. It's the most lame activity to engage in when you're in need of a kit. Kits just need to be more accessible. Back in old clans, you got one kit with 1,000 gems a day. Like, I'm sorry, but are we unaware that you cannot play this game if you do not have a kit? Might as well just be giving out kits endlessly to just let people play the game. I understand the game is supposed to be hardcore and the value of kits will go down if you make them more accessible. But like, who cares about that? If people don't have kits, the game doesn't get players. Leave the harder stuff to earn be the rares and legendaries. The solution off the top of my head would be to give a daily for like 3 or 5 kits a day. Like, just let somebody throw them in a chest in their base and let them go run around and fight. That's what the game is about right now. Like, let them do that. And this will only become more important when new players are introduced to the game. Now, some of you may heard me speak on this before for various number of reasons, but I for sure was not going to leave it out of the video. And this is monuments. Look, the idea of monuments in clans is to achieve 2 things. Spread people out and give new players an ability to do something else in clans if they did not want to fight. So far, a lot of the solutions I was trying to mention kind of minimizes the importance of monuments, but I still want to speak on them anyway. If the clans team wants to make the game just be PvP based, monuments aren't important. My idea of spreading out players with chunk claiming and attempting to reduce the boringness in base fights are meant to avoid monuments. But if the clans team wants to make the game accessible to all types of players, including more casual players, monuments can achieve that because ideally the monuments would have PvE related activities to gain kits, since they do not do that well in combat. Not to go too deep into monuments, but the idea would be to have a monument be focused on a specific objective, have quests, do things, get kits, get money, blah blah blah. That way, if you don't want to just go around and fight people to try to get kits, you have another way to do it. Otherwise, I really don't see how you're getting new players to walk into clans and understand what they're gonna do like right away and be able to compete with the players that have been playing for 9 years. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I've not really tried the clans events and bosses enough to really give a solid opinion on it, so I'm gonna kind of skip it for this video. I did some testing of a raid like months back and had my own opinions on it, and the only thing I really just didn't like have a super fun time with was just spam clicking a lot. But like I said, I'll leave that for another time if I happen to do test and want to make an opinion on it. So with that in mind, for my final problem I see with clans right now that kind of stems from, honestly, the alpha in clans, is legendaries. I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't be able to use more than 1 legend at a time. The issue with this is the legendaries in the game right now are mainly utility-based legendaries. Like, we're talking about legendaries that can heal, have projectiles, make you fly, swim, pole, run really fast, and combo someone. It pretty much makes every legendary have to be used with another to get the advantage legendaries have. I wish they were a bit reworked to make each usefully individually and even up the chances of them like to be dropped. Like, I think it would be cool if you just saw someone running around with a hyper axe or a broadsword or some kind of legendary that didn't just let them fly away with like all these other things in their back pocket. I don't know. I mean, it's really the Windblade that's the issue, and that like that Thunder Fist thing, whatever it is, that just lets you run around the map like super fast, because it's instant escape stuff, and it's just like you can't do anything when somebody just starts running away. I just think that's kind of lame. But yeah, those are the problems I see in the game right now, and this is, you know, apart from me even talking about cheaters. And look, I think it goes without saying that the core game of clans is very difficult to make work, and that's just the truth, and that's how it's literally always going to be. It's an open world game. You're never going to find a perfect way to balance everything and make every situation and fight be the most fun and enjoyable thing ever. And the sad truth of that as well is that this type of game is just not profitable for Mineplex. Like, I don't know if they're planning on, like, releasing Mineplex and advertising this game like crazy to people and hoping that everybody wants to play this new, brand new, open world, cool experience of a game. This is not going to grab anyone's attention for longer than an hour when they figure out what the game is. It's more of a hardcore style game if you really think of it, and with so much to learn and so much to understand and deal against. How is some player that plays Skyblock every single day supposed to make the transition to Mineplex's big game? Like, realistically, Mineplex needs to take this game and just make it like an MMO. Just make it a PvE based game, keep it as casual as possible. You'll get the most amount of players possible that way. I understand that's so hard to do, but we are in different time periods now, right? We're trying to talk about rebuilding and fixing the core issues of Clans, a game that, only so many people play. It's not easy to fix the issue if the core game itself is the issue. But that's all I'm going to go in for the video for today. I can definitely go in more detail on everything I said, and I wouldn't doubt if there were some things I was talking about and some issues and some problems and solutions, and definitely missaid a word or didn't double, think something through. So by all means, if you liked any of the solutions to the problems or something that I had, and maybe you saw an issue or a revamp, like, let me know in the comments. I kind of want to have like a discussion about this. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say that a year ago I was creating a document titled Rex's Clans Ideas, and things that before the game was even out, before it was even like in an alpha testing, I was, writing down stuff, writing things that I think could just make the game work in its current year. And I think it's just kind of at a state where it's just not going to work. And I can only hope for the best for it. And I really hope that whoever out there is designing the game and is feeding ideas and is trying to build stuff, I hope some of this stuff is looked at, or at least some of your guys' ideas too, if they're good, to, make this game go somewhere. I don't know if it's possible, but I would love to see it happen. Thank you so much for listening, and I guess just feel free to leave a comment or message me on Discord for any kind of discussion or whatever. I'm down to speak on whatever, But take care, and thanks for watching.